First Contact's Shadow. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the holographic display floating above her desk at the Quantum Research Institute's Antarctic facility, her third cup of coffee growing cold beside her. The quantum field readings made no sense. For the sixth time in as many weeks, she was detecting perfectly symmetrical patterns in what should have been random quantum noise. "James, come look at this," she called to her research partner. Dr. James Rodriguez looked up from his own workstation, where he'd been calibrating the Institute's new quantum sensor array. "These patterns, they're too precise to be natural phenomena." James adjusted his worn leather jacket, a stark contrast to the sterile lab environment, and leaned over her display. His eyes widened as he processed the data. "The symmetry, it's like looking at a manufactured signal. But that's impossible. We're monitoring empty space between Jupiter and Saturn." "Exactly," Sarah replied, pulling up 3 months of archived data. "Look at the regularity. Every 76 hours, like clockwork. Whatever this is, it's artificial. And it's watching us." The realization hit them both simultaneously. They weren't detecting natural quantum fluctuations. They were picking up the emissions from cloaked observation platforms. Their experimental quantum sensor array, designed to study dark matter, had accidentally revealed something far more significant. Within hours, the Institute's secure conference room was packed with the world's leading scientists and military officials, connected through quantum-encrypted channels. Sarah stood before them, her usual calm demeanor masking the excitement and anxiety churning inside her. "Based on our analysis," she explained, gesturing to the complex data streams projected around her, "there are at least 27 observation posts strategically positioned throughout our solar system. They're using technology far beyond our current understanding, but they made one crucial mistake. They never considered we'd develop quantum sensing capabilities that could detect their surveillance systems." Admiral Helena Wong of the United Nations Space Defense Force leaned forward, her weathered face etched with concern. "How long have they been watching us?" "Based on the degradation patterns in the quantum signatures, some of these platforms have been in place for at least a century," James answered, bringing up a detailed solar system map marked with red dots indicating each observation post. "They're positioned to monitor everything: our communications, our space development, probably even our quantum research." "Why reveal themselves now?" General Marcus Thompson of NATO asked, his holographic projection flickering slightly. "If they've been watching this long, why not make contact?" Sarah shared a knowing look with James before responding. "They haven't revealed themselves, General. We've simply developed technology they never expected us to achieve. From their perspective, we're still an emerging civilization, barely worth noting. But we've accidentally leapfrogged their surveillance capabilities." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had inadvertently pierced the veil of their watchers' superiority, and in doing so, gained an unprecedented advantage. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, head of the Global Quantum Initiative, spoke up from her Tokyo office. "What are our options? If we confront them directly, we risk provoking a response from a civilization clearly more advanced than our own." Sarah took a deep breath, her mind racing with possibilities. "I have a proposal. It's unconventional, but it might be our best chance." She pulled up a new simulation. "We've been developing quantum communication technology that operates on principles completely different from anything we're detecting from their observation posts. If we gradually shift all our communications to this new system, Earth would appear to go silent." James finished, a slight smile playing at his lips. "From their perspective, human civilization would simply disappear." Admiral Wong's eyebrows shot up. "Wouldn't that just provoke them to investigate more closely?" "Not necessarily," Sarah countered. "We've been analyzing their observation patterns. They're incredibly methodical, almost predictable. Their entire approach suggests civilizations that rely heavily on established protocols and expectations. If we do this right, we can use their own methodical nature against them." Dr. Tanaka's hologram nodded slowly. "A psychological approach." make them question their own assumptions about us. Exactly, Sarah confirmed. But more importantly, it gives us time. Time to develop our quantum technology further, to prepare defenses they won't be able to detect. Time to turn their surveillance against them. General Thompson's hologram flickered as he leaned back. How long would it take to implement this silence? 3 months to develop the necessary quantum communication infrastructure, James replied. Another 2 months to gradually phase out all traditional electromagnetic communications in a way that looks natural. We'll need unprecedented global cooperation. And complete secrecy, Sarah added. If any of this leaks, if there's any hint that this is a coordinated effort. Admiral Wong stood, her decision made. I'll take this to the Security Council immediately. Dr. Chen, I want you and Dr. Rodriguez to head up this operation. We'll call it Project Eclipse. As the various officials began discussing logistics, Sarah turned to the holographic display showing the alien observation posts. Their quantum signatures pulsed steadily, unaware that their subjects had discovered them. Soon, those same posts would watch as humanity seemingly vanished before their eyes. The next 3 months were a blur of activity, all conducted under the strictest secrecy. The world's quantum research facilities worked around the clock, developing and testing the new communication systems. Military installations began their silent transition first, followed by government facilities and critical infrastructure. Sarah stood in the Antarctic facility's control room, watching as the final preparations were made. James worked beside her, his fingers dancing across holographic controls as they ran through the final checklist. All quantum nodes report ready, he announced. Global infrastructure is prepared for transition. Sarah looked at the countdown timer, knowing this moment would mark a turning point in human history. In 4 minutes, humanity would attempt something unprecedented. A coordinated disappearing act on a planetary scale. Remember, she addressed the global team through quantum channels. The moment we switch to quantum communications, we'll be operating in true silence. No traditional signals of any kind can be allowed to leak. We have to make this look like a complete technological shutdown. As the timer reached 0, Sarah took one last look at the conventional communication displays, knowing this would be a moment future generations would study. Assuming their plan worked. Execute Operation Eclipse. Across Earth and throughout the solar system, humanity's countless transmissions, from radio and television to satellite signals and space communications, began to wink out in perfect synchronization. To any watching eyes, it would appear as if human civilization had simply switched off. In the sudden quiet of their new quantum communications network, Sarah watched as the alien observation posts registered the change. Their quantum signatures shifted, suggesting increased activity. And now, she whispered, sharing a meaningful look with James, we wait to see who blinks first. The silent defense. 2 months into Earth's self-imposed silence, Captain Maya Patel stood at the viewport of Lunar Base Horizon, watching Earth gleam like a jewel in the darkness. The planet looked unchanged from the outside, but she knew better. Behind that peaceful facade, humanity was undergoing the most dramatic transformation in its history. Captain, you need to see this, Lieutenant David Nash called from his monitoring station. Maya turned from the viewport, her modified quantum interface contacts automatically adjusting to the dimmer interior lighting. The holographic display showed new activity from the alien observation posts. They were moving. Pattern analysis, she asked, studying the complex quantum signatures. They're repositioning for closer observation, David replied, his dark fingers dancing across the haptic controls. 4 posts have already moved into lower solar orbits. They're trying to get a better look at what's happening on Earth. Maya allowed herself a small smile. The aliens' predictable response proved Dr. Chen's theory correct. They were following established protocols, exactly as expected. Status of our quantum shield. Operating at full capacity, David confirmed. They're looking right through us without seeing anything. As far as their sensors are concerned, Lunar Base Horizon doesn't exist anymore. The quantum shield was humanity's latest breakthrough, developed in the weeks following Operation Eclipse. Unlike traditional cloaking technology, it didn't bend light or absorb radiation. It shifted matter partially out of phase with normal spacetime, making it virtually undetectable to any known form of scanning. Maya's quantum comm chimed softly. Captain Patel, Dr. Sarah Chen's voice came through with perfect clarity, despite being transmitted from the Antarctic facility. How are our visitors behaving? Just as you predicted, Doctor. They're moving closer, but they're being cautious about it. No signs of direct intervention yet. Good. We're ready to begin Phase 2. Your base will be the first test site. Maya straightened, her heart rate picking up slightly. Understood. My team is prepared. Phase 2 was even more ambitious than the initial silence. Dr. Chen and her colleagues had discovered that the quantum technology they'd developed didn't just allow for undetectable communication and observation. It could be used to manipulate space-time itself on a localized scale. All personnel, battle stations, Maya announced through the base's quantum network. Around her, the crew moved with practiced efficiency, their movements carefully choreographed through weeks of preparation. Quantum core powering up, David reported. Field generators at maximum capacity. Through her quantum contacts, Maya watched as invisible fields of probability wrapped around the lunar base. The technology was so advanced it bordered on the miraculous. They were about to attempt something that would rewrite humanity's understanding of physics. Target locked, David announced. Ready for quantum displacement in 3, 2, 1. Maya felt a momentary sensation of disconnection, as if reality itself had hiccuped. On her displays, she watched as lunar base horizon, and everything in it, shifted slightly out of phase with normal spacetime. They weren't just invisible now. They were existing in a state between dimensions. Displacement successful, David reported, his voice steady despite the historic nature of what they'd just achieved. All systems nominal. We're now operating in quantum space. Through their sensors, they could still observe normal spacetime perfectly, but nothing could detect or interact with them without their permission. They had essentially stepped sideways out of reality, while maintaining their ability to observe and influence it. Phase 2 test successful, Dr. Chen, Maya reported. The base is fully displaced and functioning normally. Excellent work, Captain, Sarah responded. Begin monitoring the observation post's reactions. We need to know exactly how they respond to a facility completely disappearing from their sensors. Over the next few hours, Maya and her crew watched as the alien platforms conducted increasingly desperate scans of the lunar surface. Their quantum signatures betrayed their growing confusion and concern. They're starting to communicate with each other more frequently, David noted, monitoring the quantum chatter between observation posts. The pattern suggests they're debating whether to escalate their response. Let them debate, Maya replied. Every minute they spend questioning their own sensors is another minute we have to prepare. As if to punctuate her words, a new alert flashed across their displays. More observation posts were arriving in the solar system, their quantum signatures suggesting they belong to different alien species than the original watchers. Word spreading, David observed. They're calling in specialists. Maya opened a channel to Earth Command. Admiral Wong, the aliens are escalating their observation efforts. We're tracking multiple new platforms entering the system. Understood, Captain. Helena Wong's voice was calm and assured. Continue monitoring, but maintain absolute quantum silence. Dr. Chen's team is ready to begin Phase 2 implementation across all major Earth facilities. We're about to show our watchers something they've never seen before, an entire civilization that can step out of their reality at will. Over the next week, Maya and her crew watched as humanity's greatest transformation continued. One by one, major facilities across Earth and throughout the solar system disappeared from normal spacetime, shifted into the quantum realm they now call home. Military bases, research stations, space colonies, all vanishing like mirages while continuing to operate and observe. The alien observation posts were now in a state of constant activity, their quantum signatures suggesting near panic as they tried to understand what was happening to their subject species. More watchers arrived, bringing increasingly sophisticated scanning technology, but nothing could penetrate humanity's quantum displacement. "They're starting to turn their scanners on each other," David reported one morning, a note of amusement in his voice. "Some of them seem to think another alien species must be responsible for making us disappear." Maya studied the latest sensor data, noting the increasing discord among the watching species. They can't accept the simple truth that we've developed technology they never imagined possible. Their own assumptions about our capabilities have become their greatest weakness. A priority message flashed across her quantum interface. Dr. Chen's face appeared in her visual field, excitement evident in her expression. "Captain, we're ready for Phase 3. How would you like to take Lunar Base Horizon on a little trip?" Maya's eyebrows rose. "What did you have in mind, Doctor?" "We've perfected quantum translocation. Your base won't just be invisible. It'll be mobile. Imagine being able to move instantly to any point in space without traversing the distance between." Maya felt a smile spread across her face as she understood the implications. Humanity wasn't just hiding anymore. They were about to become ghosts that could appear and disappear at will throughout the solar system. "Prepare for quantum translocation protocols," she announced to her crew. "It's time to show our watchers that their understanding of reality isn't as complete as they thought." As her crew began the preparations, Maya looked out at the alien observation posts clustering around Earth's orbit. Soon, they would learn that humanity's silence wasn't a sign of weakness or fear. It was the quiet before a storm that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of what was possible. Watchers become the watched. Commander Aisha Khan adjusted her quantum phase suit as she led her team through the crystalline corridors of the alien observation post. After 3 months of preparation, Operation Mirror was finally underway. The 6 members of her infiltration team moved like ghosts, their quantum displacement technology rendering them completely undetectable to the advanced alien sensors surrounding them. "Status check," she whispered through their secure quantum link. "Quantum signature stable," Lieutenant Raj Sharma replied, his eyes focused on the holographic readouts floating in his vision. "We're still completely out of phase with their spacetime. As far as they're concerned, we don't exist." They passed an alien observer, a tall crystalline being whose internal structures pulsed with bioluminescent patterns. Their quantum suits automatically translated the aliens' muttered words. Still no sign of the humans. How does an entire civilization simply vanish? Aisha allowed herself a small smile behind her phase suit's visor. If only they knew that humanity hadn't vanished. They'd evolved beyond their watchers' ability to perceive them. And now, they were turning the tables. "Target ahead," Sergeant Maria Santos announced, indicating a massive chamber filled with swirling holographic displays. "Looks like their primary data core." The team entered the chamber, moving carefully between the alien technicians monitoring the vast array of information streams. The quantum phase suits allowed them to pass through solid matter, as if it were mist, but they had to be careful not to disrupt any energy fields that might betray their presence. "Beginning data extraction," Raj reported, interfacing their quantum systems with the alien technology. "Their security is impressive, but they never designed it to stop something operating outside normal spacetime." As the alien data flowed into their quantum storage systems, Aisha watched the holographic displays with growing concern. The information wasn't just about Earth. The observation post contained data on dozens of other civilizations throughout the galaxy. "They've been doing this for millennia," she breathed, reading the translated data, finding developing civilizations, watching them. And then, she paused, anger rising in her throat. "What is it, Commander?" Maria asked. "They engineer their development," Aisha replied. "When a civilization reaches a certain point, they manufacture a crisis, war, environmental disaster, social collapse, and then sweep in as saviors, offering advanced technology in exchange for submission to their guidance. Classic colonialism on a galactic scale, Raj muttered, still downloading data. But why go to all this trouble? Why not just conquer by force? Because they believe they're helping, Aisha realized, studying more of the historical records. They genuinely think they're preserving galactic stability by controlling how civilizations develop. Look at these records. They call themselves the custodians. A priority alert flashed across their quantum interfaces. Commander, Maria reported, we're detecting major quantum fluctuations. Something's happening. The alien technicians were suddenly rushing about, their bioluminescent patterns flashing with what the translation software identified as alarm. New holographic displays materialized, showing another solar system several hundred light-years from Earth. Another civilization at a similar development level to ours just achieved quantum technology, Raj explained, reading the data. The custodians are preparing to intervene. Aisha made a quick decision. How much more data do you need? Another 3 minutes for a complete download. Make it 2. We need to get this information back to Earth Command immediately. As her team completed their data extraction, Aisha studied the alien observers. Their methodical, almost ritualistic response to the crisis revealed volumes about their psychology. They were so convinced of their own superiority, so certain of their right to guide younger civilizations, that they couldn't conceive of being wrong. Download complete, Raj announced. Team, prepare for quantum translocation, Aisha ordered. Let's show these custodians that their understanding of the universe isn't as complete as they think. In an instant, the infiltration team vanished from the observation post, translocating directly back to their base in the quantum-displaced lunar base horizon. Captain Patel was waiting for them in the debriefing room. Report, Commander Khan. Aisha removed her phase suit helmet, her expression grim. The situation is more complex than we imagined, Captain. These observers, they call themselves the custodians, have been manipulating civilizations for thousands of years. And they're about to do it again to another species that's just reached our level of development. Maya's eyes narrowed. Show me everything. Over the next hour, they reviewed the stolen data. The custodians' history unfolded before them. Countless civilizations guided, controlled, or destroyed if they resisted. Their methods were subtle but ruthless, always wrapped in the justification of maintaining galactic stability. They were planning the same for us, Maya realized, studying the detailed intervention protocols prepared for Earth. The increasing natural disasters, the social unrest, the growing tension between nations. It wasn't all natural, was it? No, Aisha confirmed. They were laying the groundwork for their intervention, but our quantum breakthrough disrupted their timeline. When we went silent, we didn't just confuse them. We completely derailed their plans. Maya opened a quantum channel to Earth Command. Admiral Wong, Dr. Chen, you need to see this immediately. As they transmitted their findings back to Earth, Aisha returned to the tactical displays showing the distant civilization about to face custodian intervention. We can't let them do this again, she said quietly. We can't stand by and watch another species be manipulated into submission. Maya studied the data for a long moment before responding. Maybe we don't have to. Dr. Chen's team has perfected long-range quantum translocation. We could reach that system in minutes. Are you suggesting we intervene? Aisha asked, hope rising in her voice. Not intervene. Protect. We've learned to step outside the custodian's reality. Maybe it's time we taught others to do the same. Maya opened another channel to Earth Command. Admiral, I have a proposal. Operation Mirror has given us the intelligence we needed. I believe it's time for Operation Guardian. As they waited for Earth Command's response, Aisha watched the tactical displays tracking custodian movements throughout the galaxy. Their watchers had become the watched, their secrets exposed, their methods understood. But more importantly, humanity had found its purpose in the galaxy, not as another civilization to be guided, but as protectors of those who would otherwise fall victim to the custodians' well-meaning but destructive interference. The response from Earth Command was swift and clear. Operation Guardian authorized. Show them what humanity's silence really means. Breaking the chains. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the quantum-shifted control center of humanity's first extrasolar outpost, watching holographic displays of the Centauri civilization's homeworld. The crystalline spires of their cities glittered under triple suns, while in orbit, the custodians' crisis engineering ships prepared to unleash carefully calibrated disasters that would bring the Centaurians to their knees. Their beginning atmospheric insertions, Captain Maya Patul reported from her command station, engineered nanoparticles designed to trigger environmental collapse, just like they planned for Earth. Not this time, Sarah replied, her voice steady. Commander Khan, is your team in position? Affirmative. Aisha's voice came through the quantum link. Phase suits operating at maximum efficiency. The custodians have no idea we're aboard their ships. The plan was audacious but elegant. In the 3 weeks since discovering the custodians' true nature, humanity had moved swiftly to prevent them from claiming another victim. The quantum displacement technology that had hidden Earth now allowed them to operate freely throughout nearby space, invisible to their would-be overlords. Remember, Sarah broadcast to all teams, our goal isn't to destroy or disable. We're here to protect and preserve, not to start a war. Execute Operation Guardian exactly as planned. Through multiple quantum feeds, Sarah watched events unfold. Commander Khan's infiltration teams, scattered throughout the custodian fleet, began their synchronized action. The engineered nanoparticles, stored in massive containment vessels, simply vanished. Quantum shifted into sealed containment facilities back in human space for study and neutralization. First wave of containment vessels cleared, Aisha reported, moving to secondary targets. The custodians' response was immediate and predictable. Their quantum signatures pulsed with alarm as they discovered their weapons had somehow disappeared. Emergency protocols activated across their fleet as they tried to understand what had gone wrong. They're launching backup systems, Maya announced. Atmospheric modification satellites deploying. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. Initiate Phase 2. Across the Centauri system, previously invisible human quantum ships shed their displacement fields for just a moment, long enough to emit precise gravitational pulses that gently pushed the custodian satellites off course, sending them tumbling harmlessly into deep space. Satellite network neutralized, Maya reported. No damage to custodian equipment, just redirected. The custodian fleet's quantum signatures were now showing patterns that the human translation systems interpreted as near panic. Their carefully orchestrated intervention was falling apart, but they couldn't detect who or what was stopping them. New contacts, Maya called out. 3 more custodian battle groups entering the system. They're bringing in heavy reinforcements. As expected, Sarah nodded. Time for Phase 3. Lieutenant Nash, are you ready? Quantum field generators at full power, David responded from his station. Ready to implement the protective shield. This was the most ambitious part of their plan. They weren't just going to stop the custodians' attack, they were going to ensure they could never try again. The quantum technology that had hidden Earth had been modified and expanded. Now it would protect an entire civilization. Execute Phase 3, Sarah ordered. Massive quantum field generators, hidden throughout the Centauri system, activated simultaneously. The effect was subtle but profound. The entire civilization's quantum signature began to shift, becoming increasingly difficult for the custodians to detect or interact with. Quantum shield stabilizing, David reported. The Centaurians won't even notice the change, but their entire civilization now exists slightly out of phase with normal spacetime. The custodians' weapons and technology simply won't be able to affect them. Sarah opened a secure channel to Earth Command. Admiral Wong, Operation Guardian Phase 1 is complete. The Centaurians are safe. Excellent work, Doctor, Helena responded. What's the custodian response? They're maintaining position, but showing signs of extreme agitation. Based on the quantum chatter we're intercepting, they've never encountered anything like this before. Their entire understanding of reality is being challenged. Through the quantum feeds, Sarah watched as the custodian fleet hung in space, their sophisticated sensors unable to properly detect the civilization they'd come to subjugate. The Centaurians, blissfully unaware of both the threat and their salvation, continued their normal activities. Multiple quantum transmissions detected, Maya reported. They're calling for guidance from their central authority. This event is causing ripples throughout their entire command structure. Sarah nodded, satisfaction evident in her expression. Good. Let them wonder. Let them question their assumptions about their role in the galaxy. Commander Khan's voice came through the quantum link. Dr. Chen, we've completed our final sweep of their ships. All crisis engineering equipment has been neutralized or redirected. But there's something else you should see. My team found data cores containing information about 3 other civilizations approaching the quantum technology threshold. 3 more potential victims, Sarah mused, or 3 more civilizations we can protect. Maya, what's the status of our quantum shield generator production? The lunar factories are operating at maximum capacity. We can have enough generators for another system ready in 2 weeks. Sarah opened a channel to all human forces in the Centauri system. Well done, everyone. But our work is just beginning. Humanity didn't break free from the custodians' influence just to stand by while they continue their manipulation of others. Every civilization deserves the chance to develop on its own terms, and we're going to ensure they get that chance. As the human forces prepared to quantum shift back to their hidden bases, Sarah studied the custodian fleet one last time. Their quantum signatures showed them still struggling to understand what had happened, still trying to rationalize how their careful plans had been so thoroughly disrupted. They thought silence meant weakness, she said quietly. They thought our disappearance meant we were hiding in fear. They never considered that we were becoming something they couldn't imagine. Protectors of free development, guardians of true independence. A new alert flashed across her quantum interface. The custodian's central authority had issued new orders. All intervention operations were to be suspended pending a full investigation of the Centauri incident. Their perfect record of successful manipulations had been broken, and the ripple effects were spreading throughout their hierarchy. Time to go home, Sarah announced to her teams. We have more work to do. There are other civilizations to protect, and we need to be ready. The age of the custodian's unchallenged manipulation is over. The Silent Guardians have arrived. Dawn of the Silent Guardians. Admiral Helena Wong stood on the bridge of the quantum-shifted flagship Avalon, watching the massive gathering of custodian ships above their homeworld. After 6 months of humanity's silent revolution, the moment had finally come. The custodians had called an emergency council of all their major species, the first such gathering in 10,000 years. Quantum signatures from 12 distinct civilizations detected. Lieutenant Nash reported from his station. They're all here, the entire custodian leadership. And they still have no idea we're right above their heads, Commander Khan added with a slight smile. The quantum displacement field is holding perfectly. Helena nodded, then opened a quantum channel. Dr. Chen, are you ready to make history? As ready as we'll ever be, Admiral, Sarah replied from her position in the ship's quantum core chamber. The technology they'd developed had come so far from those first discoveries in the Antarctic facility. Now they weren't just hiding or protecting. They were about to reshape the galaxy's fundamental power structure. Begin phase revelation, Helena ordered. Throughout the massive custodian gathering, hidden quantum generators activated. The effect was subtle at first, just a slight shimmer in reality as hundreds of human ships began to partially phase back into normal spacetime. They didn't fully materialize, instead existing in a state between dimensions that made them appear as ghostly apparitions to the stunned custodians. Their quantum signatures are showing extreme agitation, Maya reported from her tactical station. Multiple ships attempting to power up weapons systems. Let them try, Sarah's voice was calm. The partial phase state makes us completely immune to their technology. They can't hurt us, but more importantly, we're showing them we choose not to hurt them. Helena stepped forward, her uniform crisp and formal. Open broadcast channels, all frequencies, full quantum spectrum. She took a deep breath, knowing her next words would echo through history. To all members of the Custodian Council, I am Admiral Helena Wong of Earth. Humanity has watched you watching us, has learned your methods, and has chosen a different path. We come not as conquerors or subjects, but as architects of change. The custodian ship's quantum signatures pulsed with patterns indicating shock and disbelief. Their response came quickly, transmitted on all channels. This is impossible. Your civilization was not ready for this level of advancement. Our protocols. Your protocols are based on assumptions that are no longer valid, Helena interrupted. While you watched us through electromagnetic signals, we transcended into quantum reality. While you planned to engineer our crisis, we learned to step outside your ability to affect us. And while you worried about our silence, we were teaching others to do the same. Through their quantum sensors, they detected frantic communication between the custodian ships as they realized the implications. One by one, reports were coming in from their observation posts throughout the galaxy. More civilizations were vanishing, protected by humanity's quantum technology. You have no right to interfere, another custodian species transmitted. We maintain galactic stability. We prevent chaos. We guide development. You control and manipulate, Helena countered. You force every civilization to develop according to your patterns, your expectations. But true stability doesn't come from control. It comes from freedom, from allowing each species to find its own path. Dr. Chen's voice came through the quantum link. Admiral, they're accessing their weapons systems across the fleet. They're preparing to demonstrate their power. Helena smiled. As expected. Execute phase unity. Across the gathered custodian fleet, weapons systems simply vanished. Quantum shifted into containment facilities far away. But more importantly, the quantum generators began their primary function, not to hide or disable, but to reveal. Sending quantum revelation pulse now, Sarah announced. The pulse swept through the custodian fleet like a wave of pure understanding. Their quantum sensors, suddenly enhanced by human technology, showed them everything. The civilizations they'd guided, controlled, and sometimes destroyed, all from a perspective they'd never considered. We're not here to punish or condemn, Helena continued. We understand you truly believed you were helping. But today we offer a different way, a partnership. Let us show you how to be true guardians, not through control, but through protection and empowerment. The quantum signatures of the custodian ships began to shift, patterns indicating deep internal debates and realizations. They were seeing their own history through new eyes, understanding the full impact of their interventions. Multiple quantum signatures approaching, Maya reported. The civilizations we've protected, they're arriving. Ships from the Centaurians and other species humanity had saved emerged from quantum displacement, taking position alongside the human fleet. Each had chosen to reveal themselves, to stand with Earth in this historic moment. This is what true stability looks like, Helena declared. Not civilizations forced to follow your path, but species freely choosing to stand together. We call it the Guardian Accord, a new covenant for galactic development. Hours passed as the custodians debated internally. Human and allied ships maintained their partial phase state, a constant reminder of how far beyond their control the galaxy had grown. Finally, the response came. The most ancient of the custodian species transmitted. In 10,000 years of guiding younger civilizations, we have never encountered anything like this. You have shown us there are possibilities we never imagined. We would hear more of this Guardian Accord. Helena shared a triumphant look with her bridge crew. Then let us begin. Not as masters and subjects, but as equals. The time of imposed guidance is over. The era of free development, protected by the silent guardians, has begun. As negotiations commenced, Sarah Chen stood in the quantum core chamber, watching the energy patterns that had changed everything. Humanity had done more than escape the custodians' plans. They had transformed galactic civilization itself. Their silence hadn't been an end, but a beginning. They had become something new. Protectors of freedom, guardians of choice, champions of independence. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly as it should be.